Yo, what's good, my fellow deadheads? Your overlord has returned with yet another Kaiju number 8 video. And today, guys, we are going to be doing another character breakdown build guide video. And today, we are going to be talking about this man, Reno Ichikawa. Now, guys, if you've been watching some of my a few videos that have dropped recently, you would have seen me say something along the lines of, I think that Reno is probably the best debuffer in the game. I think that Sagan is the best tank in the game. And then I think that Narumi is the best DPS in the game, and then I think that probably the best support in the game is going to be this man Hoshina right here, ironically enough. So it's a good thing they gave us on the initial release of the game. But guys, we are here to talk about Reno, all the pros, the cons, all of his kit entirely, what I recommend for him. But if you guys have been enjoying these videos, then you can go down below and you can leave a like on the video, and you can hit a subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the dead man hits the Kaiju glide. And you can also go down below and comment and let me know what you want to know. We actually do have a very massive update coming tomorrow, and I am praying that it is the Steam update that everybody has been waiting for, along with some more content, of course. But we do have more content coming tomorrow anyway, but this is not a video to talk about that. We will go ahead and get into the Reno breakdown. Alright guys, we got our Frosty Goat up to bat here, and we're going to go ahead and just start off with some pros and cons for the character when you can consider summoning for the character, because his banner is leaving in 4 days, so you still have a tiny bit of time to summon for him, but really we have to see if he is somebody that you want to summon for, considering a few things. So what I will say to start off is, he does have a very high damage potential, considering the fact that his debuffs do make the enemies take more damage, and he can deal additional damage after he's done an attack, right, with his additional ice damage. He also does have a dual plating breaking type, and he is also the added bonus of being elemental with physical plating type, which covers like all the types in the game for him. The only way that he could not really cover something is if it wants a slasher blunt type, or if it asks for a specific element. But a lot of the content around the game is just shooting type enemies, or shooting type plating, because that is just the universe they live in. Most of the weapons that they use to fight Kaiju are just shooting type of weapons. He has AoE crowd control, because he can break ice crystals off from the main target that you're hitting to the adjacent allies, or the adjacent enemies, I'm sorry, and give them extra debuffs to get them extra damage dealt, and also freeze multiple enemies on his ultimate. So just a lot of really good crowd control and a lot of really good debuffing, which makes him again just one of the best debuff choices in the game, if not the #1 debuff choice in the game. We got to see who the next character is coming out, which I have a odd suspicion that maybe we could be seeing that man Chester Lockburn, which I'll have a video for that character in his own right. But let's continue on with some more of the pros here. He can give his allies a damage boost. That's kind of like the same thing as the AoE crowd control, but just kind of like more elaborated, because with his AoE crowd control, with him lowering everybody's defense and everything, or making them susceptible to more damage, that means that your entire team is going to be doing more damage. So rather than all of these units being like the best in their own regard, if you put them on a team together, they're going to be absolutely ridiculous, if you could imagine, right? Then also, he has a 50% chance to recover SP whenever he does his combat skill, I believe, so that's going to be very useful, using him on a team like all of these three, who are all three very SP hungry units. And then the only con that I have for him is the fact that he does have 4 days left on his banner, and maybe by the time you're seeing this video, 3 days left, 2 days left, who knows, but he is leaving on the 19th. It is the 15th when I am recording this. He's leaving on the 19th, and you have to consider, if you do not already have a copy of Sagan Shinomiya, this unit right here, #1 in the game, I would say, if you do not have a copy of this unit right here, you have to start to prioritize, do I want to break away from my Sagan summons to try and get a copy of Reno before he disappears, or do I want to just keep going full throttle into Sagan here? That is the only con that I have for that man Reno. And also, they have not confirmed anything for the banner structure of this game just yet, but I imagine that we will follow a similar structure to like JJK Phantom Parade, right? Where as soon as this character is out of the way off of an actual banner, he will be later on added to a standard banner. But what I hope for is that he gets added to the standard banner like immediately, because I currently do not have his weapon, and I'll break down his weapon a little bit later on, but I don't have his weapon, and I am just solely banking on the fact that maybe he gets moved over to the standard banner shop eventually, and then I can just buy his weapon that way instead of using my premium currencies, because I have a lot of premium currency that I'd rather save for getting the characters themselves versus getting their weapons. But again, we will talk about that when we get to the weapon section of the video. So, Reno's first passive is actually going to be Composed Thinking. After activating a combat skill, follow-up skill, or an ultimate against the Kaiju in the Ice Crystal state, he applies Ice Crystal for 2 turns to the adjacent Kaiju, the surrounding Kaiju. Then, Ice Crystal, or what Ice Crystal is that after an ally attacks, deals ice additional damage equal to 21% of the applier's attack. Now, this is not 21% always. Obviously, my skill is only at level 1. Once you level the skill out to max, it's going to be a much higher percentage of additional damage, but very good here. You can see that getting the Ice Crystal state is going to be the main gimmick of him just off of this main passive right here. Get the enemies frosty and then frost them down some more, right? But let's go ahead and look over to the next passive, Instant Cold Energy. After activating a combat skill, he has a fixed 50% chance of getting SP +1. Now, I know it may be crazy to think already about, like, what if they did like an easy A or something like that? Yes, I know, I always talk about stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, with this stuff being at a fixed chance, I feel like these are the things that they would be willing to change around, right? The fixed chance stuff or the base chance stuff, they would change these passives around because they already do not change, and they make them like black as opposed to the other passives in the actual skills themselves, which are light blue, because you know that those light blue skills can change, but the passive skills cannot over here at least. Then we can look at the next passive, which is going to be Limitless Aspiration. At the start of a wave, applies 2 ice crystals for 2 turns. That is the same as the passive skills to all Kaiju. So, if you already unlock his level cap to level 60, whenever you come into a battle, you are honestly, every time you come into a new room, you are already applying the ice crystal to the Kaijus, right? But you're definitely going to still want to give him something that increases his effect hit rate, or something of that nature, or just increases his ice damage in general. I feel like effect crit rate and ice damage is the way to go. I don't feel like you need to necessarily work directly like straight up attack damage, right? But we'll keep looking through the kit and see a few more things here to kind of see which way you guys want to build them. The next passive is going to be Results of Basic Training. When attacking a Kaiju in the Ice Crystal state, this unit's damage dealt is plus 18%. So, getting him to level 80 is going to give him a lot of good extra damage against Kaiju. It's going to give you that extra SP chance as well. The SP chance is actually very easy to get your hands on. It only takes getting him to level cap 40, which is very easy. But level 80 obviously is going to be where you want to shoot for. Everybody just gets absolutely insane once they get to the level 80 mark in their passive state. But now, we can go ahead and take a look at the battle skills. So guys, I was saying that it seems like most of the characters have the same kind of like amount of ultimate gauge fill rate on their skills whenever I was looking over Narumi and Sagan, but it turns out that Reno actually can boost his ultimate a tiny bit faster, and his ultimate gauge is still maxed out at 300, so this is like confirmed, like yes, he can just max out his ultimate gauge faster, whereas Narumi and Sagan, their ultimate gauges are only filled up by 54 on their skill 1s. Reno's is going to be filled up by 60 on his skill 1. Then their skill 2s are only at 81. His skill 2 is actually going to be 90. And then this right here is also going to be 60 as well, which I believe the follow-up attacks were 60 naturally, yes. But you can see here, even for Sagan, only 54 on the ultimate charge. So Reno is a little bit faster of an ult rusher. I'm not going to say that he is inherently just a, ult king or anything like that. But let's go ahead and look over his battle skills. So his skill 1 is going to be deals shot and ice damage equal to 34% of this unit's attack to a single Kaiju. That is only at level 1, keep in mind. But just a basic ice and shot damage attack. And again, I do want to say, I do like the fact that every single one of his skills are both types of his plating type. Because on Narumi, his skill 1 and his follow-up skill are only slash, whereas his combat skill and his ultimate are slash and shoot. So Narumi would be way better if all of his stuff had slash and shoot on it, but this is what also gives Narumi, and this is what gives Reno and Sagan a little bit of an edge over that man Narumi, but Narumi still just has really crazy outright damage nonetheless. Now we can look at the skill 2, which is going to be Ice Break. This one only costs 1 SP. I don't think we have a unit in the game yet that has a skill that costs 2 SP, unless there's just an SR character who is so bad they thought, why not just make him the absolute worst thing in all of existence, right? Unless there's an SR character who has a 2 SP skill or something like that. But let's take a look here. Single target attack, it deals shot and ice damage equal to 192% of this unit's attack to a single kaiju. That, I'd say, is a pretty high percentage for being at level 1, by the way. And guys, as soon as we get an update where we can look over every single skill level's like percentage, I will try to update my documents so that they can reflect the percentages. But for right now, all I am doing is putting an X value wherever these light blue numbers are, because these numbers are susceptible to change. But 192% of attack to a single kaiju does not sound like a bad amount of damage at all. And after attacking, he applies Ice Crystal for 2 turns. That is the same as his passive to the target. So he already gives Ice Crystal stacks whenever he comes into the mission, but with his combat skill, he automatically can throw out some more Ice Crystal stacks. So just maintaining the Ice Crystals and maintaining the freezes is what we were looking for mainly with this unit. But again, because he can produce so many Ice Crystals from so many different places, he is going to be providing a lot of extra debuffing support for your team, if that makes sense. The ultimate is going to be, before attacking, applies crit rate plus 15% for 2 turns to this unit, and this 15% does not increase when the skill levels up. You can tell because the numbers are black. Deals shot damage and ice damage equal to 163% of this unit's attack to a single kaiju, and then deals shot damage and ice damage equal to 81% of this unit's attack to an adjacent kaiju. And after attacking, he has a 65% base chance to apply freeze for 1 turn to the targets, and if he freezes the targets, he delays the target's next action order by 30%, which is absolutely busted. Then also, after a turn arrives, they take an additional ice damage equal to 21% of the applier's attack, but that 21% is only based on the fact that the skill is level 1. Once you get it to level 10, and even get more dupes for him and get it to level 12, yeah, it's just gonna do better and better damage no matter what. So this ultimate is just looking really crazy. That freeze chance is looking really incredible. Has a chance to slow down everybody's action order, which I've noticed that even when an enemy is in a core exposed state, when their turn comes back around, as soon as they wake up, they do something, right? And I don't like that very much. With Reno, you can kind of combat that, right? Getting enemies in a core exposed state and then also slowing down their priority turn order helps out a little bit with that. Then the follow-up skill is going to be Ice Block Impact. Deals shot and ice damage equal to 77% of this unit's attack to a single kaiju. Again, I think these are pretty solid percentages for skills that are all at level 1, but we are going to give you the skill order priority, and I say that maybe the way that you want to do it is work on his combat skill first, because his combat skill provides the ice crystals straight up, and he already is providing extra ice crystals from his actual just regular passives. Then I'm going to say do the ultimate, because the ultimate has a chance to freeze the enemies and also can give them that extra additional ice damage that they are taking whenever it gets back around to the enemy's turns. So that's going to be very impactful for your team. Then I would say do the passive skill, just because it increases the buff on ice crystals percentages, right? You can see the ice crystal after an ally attacks deals ice damage equal to 21%. You want to increase that percentage very much so and get the ice crystals to hit a lot harder after your allies are doing attacks. Then I said the follow-up skill, just because actually the follow skill and the basic skill are pretty interchangeable. They fill up your ultimate the same amount, but you are mainly trying to use this man Reno's combat skill, so that's why I put the follow-up skill first and then the normal skill last. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at his gear now and talk about some recommendations for him. So I have some really bad pieces right now, but the first gear set I'm going to recommend to this man Reno is going to be the spider type Unipart set, mainly due to the fact it gives you, at 15 star, if you can get the all legendary set of course, it gives you 46.8% attack, so just a very nice sizable attack buff that we want to have for this unit. Then it's also going to give him an effect hit rate plus 22.4%, so that is going to give him a lot higher of a chance to get that freeze off and to get those ice crystals off, right? Then when an equipped unit attacks a kaiju that already has a debuff or status element, the equipped unit's damage dealt is plus 25%, which is absolutely great because when he starts off the fight, he already gives the enemies what? Ice crystals. And as soon as you use this combat skill, it's just going to be even more ice crystals. So the enemy should pretty much start off in a state where they are already debuffed to some degree, and Reno is going to be able to abuse that from the very start of the battle if you get the spider type Unipart set. And then the secondary set that I would say get for him if you want to go for more of a raw outright damage type of thing, I guess you could do the lizard set, but I'll be honest with you, don't really see a point in the lizard set because the crit rate being higher is definitely a lot better, and whenever he activates his ultimate ultimate, he gets damage dealt. So again, a more damage offensive type of set, but I would say the spider set is just a lot better for you because of those effect rates. You want to make sure that you are getting those freezes off guaranteed. And some good stats to roll for, and the substats are going to be attack, crit damage. I prefer percentages over flat stat boost, right? And this is just some random stuff that I have on Reno just to get the set effect in general. But yeah, I prefer attack percentages over, whenever I say to get a flat stat, I don't mean a flat stat, I mean a percentage stat, right? But attack, crit damage, effect hit rate, and ice damage, because you're gonna see once we get over to the Ascension, I believe Reno has a pretty solid amount of crit rate built into his kit. But yes, let's talk about his weapon, and also his weapon does provide crit rate for him as well. But yes, let's go right into the weapon. So unlike the rest of these characters, I actually do not have Reno's weapon, and this is something that I was talking about earlier. If we come and look at the gacha shop, you can see that I have 420 medals in the exchange shop right now. So I could certainly grab Reno's gun right now and still have enough points to pick up the next character whenever they drop, as soon as they drop, right? But rather, I think I would want to wait until Reno gets added to the standard banner, because as you can see here, I also have enough currency in the standard banner shop to buy a weapon. And if they're going to add Reno to this shop eventually and add his weapon into this shop, then I'd rather just expend this currency to get his weapon versus using my really good premium currency to get the other weapon. But what does the weapon do per se? So the weapon is going to provide you crit rate plus 24% whenever you equip it. Then, after the equipped unit activates a combat skill, applies ice damage dealt plus 8% for 3 turns, and ultimate gauge charge rate plus 7% for 3 turns, for up to a max of 2 stacks. So you can see that the gun is giving him extra crit rate to make sure that he is getting those crits off, so his crit damage is going to play an impactful role in it. Then you can see here his ultimate gauge is getting charged up even faster, and his ice damage dealt is getting charged up even faster, right? So it's just going to turn this man into an absolute menace. More ultimates being popped off, more freezes happening, more debuffs happening, more ice damage coming in the back end of the turns, right? But I actually have a weapon that I could recommend you guys if you're willing to get a little sweaty for it. Now, this weapon right here is the AR Cronus. This weapon could actually be purchased from the Defense Force Battle Pass if you pay for the premium shop. If you pay for the base level premium shop, you get 1 little silver chest. If you pay for the super premium level, you get 2 of these little chests. And with this little chest, I opened them up and I got 2 copies of the AR Cronus, because I already have 5-star weapons for all my other 5-star characters. But basically what the AR Cronus does is not as good as the AR Boreas, but it's still decent enough. Still gives him some crit rate, but you can see here at Ascension 1, it does not give up to 24% crit rate, it only gives 18.4%. And the Boreas gives 24% at A1 or A0, right? But after the equipped unit activates combat skill, applies attack plus 6.9%. Nice. For 2 turns to the equipped unit, max up to 3 stacks. So you can see a very dumbed down version of the AR Boreas, even though it is the same rarity, but it still does work because his combat skill is going to be the skill that you're using mainly, so he should still get a little nice damage boost off of that. And also his crit rate is just, you know, being boosted up even furthermore. So whenever he does get those crits off, or it's just more likely that he'll get crits off, which will then allow him to do more damage, because once everybody starts critting, more damage comes as a result of that, obviously. And if you guys absolutely cannot get your hands on this weapon or his weapon, then the last weapon that I recommend is the AR Octopus, just because it gives him a higher effect hit rate of plus 17%. And after the equipped unit attacks Kaiju that already has a debuff or status element, the equipped unit's ultimate gauge is boosted to 30 or plus 30, right? So that is definitely going to help you rush Reno's ultimate a little bit more too, and it is a free-to-play option, so you don't have to burn a hole in your pocket trying to get these units all nice and fancy and polished off. Alright guys, time for, I say your favorite part, but definitely it's my favorite part of the video. The part where we talk about the unit's Ascension, and the reason why this is my favorite part of the video is just because the Ascension paths are just so crazy that the units just change so freaking much from the Ascension paths, and it makes me excited for summoning actually, because I'm just like, dude, when I get them up to A6, like it seems like every unit you want to get A6, but like what's new in gacha games ever, right? You always want to have the new unit maxed out, fully polished, right? But no, a lot of these units, it seems like when you get to A6, they actually make it worth it. So let's go ahead and look through these Ascension passives. And also, guys, I'm trying to be a little bit faster with these videos because I feel like the last two were very, very long, and I just want to get a little more quick and a little more concise with these videos. So definitely let me know in the comments if you are enjoying the speed ramp in the video, or if you'd rather me slow it down a little bit, you feel like I'm missing some things. But let's go ahead and look over it. So, A1 is going to be Lingering Cold. Before activating his ultimate, applies a crit damage plus 30% for 1 time to this unit. So that is going to be a nice little crit damage buff right there. And with the ice going, I'm pretty sure it's easier for him to get some crits off. Then right here, you can see that the A2 is going to be Bone Chilling Frostbite. When attacking a Kaiju in the Ice Crystal state, this unit's defense penetration rate plus 16%. So this is the first time looking through units I've seen anybody with defense penetration. So that already makes him a little bit more sinister than the other units. I'm not going to look over the skill 3 or the skill 5, or the Ascension 3 or Ascension 5, because you already know what that is. That's literally just boosting the levels of all the skills that he has. But if you get him to A4, he has Restoration of Cold Energy. Each time ice additional damage from ice crystals activates, this unit's ultimate plus 2. Now that sounds like it's not a lot, but I feel like that's gonna stack a lot faster than people are realizing. Usually when they have to put it to a very low number like that, is because the thing that procs it happens way too often. And literally as soon as you come into the battle, everybody already has ice crystals. Then you use your skill 2. You give another enemy ice crystals. Then the ice crystals spread to the adjacent Kaiju. They get ice crystals, right? So the ice crystals just spread really, really fast. Spread like wildfire, actually. No pun intended, or there's not really a pun, but no oxymoron intended. Anyway, yes, the ice spikes actually do spread extremely fast. So you are going to be getting a lot of ultimate gauge from this, and this is going to be very impactful for Reno getting that ultimate off, and then just dropping another ultimate and just giving everybody that higher chance to do more damage once again. And then at A6, this man Reno gets ice additional damage multiplier by ice additional damage multiplier caused by ice crystal is increased by plus 60%. So as of right now, where he is on my account, he is still a very impactful unit. He still does a very good job debuffing the enemies and giving me the wiggle room to do more damage with my units, right? But imagine how much extra damage you are going to be seeing when that man's ice crystals, the passive damage that just happens to enemies on their turn. Imagine how much extra damage you're going to be seeing when all the skills are at level 10 and they are spiked by an additional 60% right here. So Reno looks pretty solid, but I'll be honest with you, even though this A6 is crazy and I just glazed it up, I don't think necessarily that he is one of those characters that you need to rush to try and get to A6. I feel like he's doing exactly what he needs to do at, A0, at A3, A1, whatever. Like A4 is nice even, but I don't think you need it, right? I feel like Reno just works extremely well the way that he works, and I gotta give him his props for that. But let's now go ahead and talk about his best battle buddy. Now y'all are gonna hate this, I know it, but unironically, I am going to give this man's best battle buddy to Iharu, his homie. Why is that? Because this man Iharu, if you have him at level 90, or I'm sorry, his passive skill gives all allies an effect hit rate plus 15%, and that can be increased even more so. So as of right now, it's 15%. But if I tried to upgrade the skill right now, what is it going to go to? To 17%. So if it's going up by 2% each skill level, does that not mean that my effect hit rate is going to go up by, let's see, I have 7 more levels to go, so 14 more percent. So like, we should be maxing out at like 29, 30% or something like that for extra effect hit rate. I think that's really crazy. I think that's going to make the ice crystals way more guaranteed than people are thinking. But hey, bro, that could just be me. Not to mention, this man also does have has a debuff that he applies to enemies that gives them defense down as well. And he also just puts the enemy in a debuff state, which I'm pretty sure if Reno is already attacking somebody in a debuff state, then we just read it. If Reno is attacking somebody in a debuff state when attacking a Kaiju, nah, it specifically has to be the ice crystals. So Reno's extra stuff has to specifically be from the ice crystals, but that is okay because Iharu actually gets extra buffs from attacking Kaiju in an already debuffed state. So even though he is going to be screwing your damage over on your team a little bit, I guess. I mean, the damage dealers in this game are really crazy. So I mean, like, I feel like you could have a one damage dealer for your team and then literally just run Reno, not even as a damage dealer, as a support, you know, debuffer character, right? I feel like the team will still work out perfectly fine how it's supposed to, even if you put Iharu with him. And remember, Iharu and Reno together just make a really crazy debuff comp, I feel. With the defense down, with the extra effect hit rate, with the ice crystals, with everything all considered, I think these guys will make pretty good battle buddies. And I mean, like, there's the obvious answer of Hoshina or Reno Ichikawa, right? You can make any team look good with those two characters. But guys, hopefully you did enjoy the video. That is going to be it for the breakdown on this man Reno and my plans for Reno. And also, guys, I just wanted to give you guys a few little updates for the channel. So one, I actually did do my one summon on Reno's banner like I did on Sagan's banner the other day, and I actually got my copy of Hoshina, which actually gave me every single character in the game. So I am working on them at the time of recording this video. You can see them here, but also I have all the lower level characters down there at like level 20. I'm going to be trying to get every character. Basically, this game feels like it wants me to give it the Black Clover mobile treatment and get every single character, right? Which I'm down to get every single character, especially because my luck went so insane after I started spending money. Wow, big whoop, big surprise, right? But I do want to get every character. I don't know if I want to max out every single character because I understand that, you know, this is a gacha game and all this stuff comes back in due time. But I am definitely enjoying the game, and I think I might be really locking in on this. Like, I'm really enjoying this shit, man. But yeah, for the next week, I mean, we are getting a new Fierce Battle area tomorrow, so I'll definitely have a video on that as soon as I can get to it. I'll probably be at soccer whenever that drops, so I won't be able to be the first one, but hey, bro, it'll be done, right, in typical Deadman fashion. But also, I'm probably just going to be farming a lot of XP for the week because, again, I just want to get all these characters up to at least level 80 so that I have all of their passive skills unlocked. And then after level 80, we'll go from there. We'll definitely try to get the Sagan level 10 skills video uploaded and everything, and I'll try to do the level 10 skill video in a little bit better of a way where I do the level 10 skills at the start of the video because I'm already prepped up, and then we come back through and do actually the actual missions with the characters so we can see them with all level 10 skills, see how incredible they look. But if you guys did enjoy the video, you can go down below, you can leave a like on the video because I know you loved it, and you can also hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get notified every single time the Deadman decides to hit the icy Reno glide. And you can also go down below and comment in the section, go down below in the comment section and let me know, what did you think about the breakdown? Was this useful for you? Are you guys enjoying the documents? Are the documents useful for you? Are the documents a waste of time? Well, bad news for you that even if the documents are a waste of fucking time, I've already typed up all the ones for the SR characters basically, so you guys are stuck with it. But you guys have an excellent day. The Deadman does love you. Remember to be excellent. Peace out.